A giant black wall of water swallowed an entire coastline in minutes, and almost no one saw it coming. On December 26, 2004, a magnitude 9.2 earthquake tore open the seafloor beneath the Indian Ocean. Within hours, the tsunami it triggered would become the deadliest in recorded history, killing an estimated 227,898 people across 14 countries. It began here in the Indian Ocean, just north of Simeulue Island, off Sumatra's western coast in Indonesia. At 7:58 in the morning local time, the seafloor ruptured along the boundary where the India Plate slides beneath the Burma Plate, about 160 kilometers offshore. Most recent studies put its size at magnitude 9.2 to 9.3, the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Asia, and the second or third most powerful anywhere since modern seismographs began in 1900. Over several minutes, an estimated 1,600 kilometers of fault surface slipped about 15 meters. The rupture kept tearing northward for at least 10 minutes, the longest duration of faulting ever observed, covering between 12 and 1,300 kilometers of fault, also a record. The shaking made the entire planet vibrate by up to 10 millimeters, and even remotely triggered earthquakes as far away as Alaska. Only 2 earthquakes since 1900 have measured larger, Chile in 1960 and Alaska in 1964, but dense coastal populations nearby made this one far deadlier than either. Of all the seismic energy released globally, between 1906 and 2005, roughly 1/8 came from this single event. The seafloor had lurched upward, shoving a huge volume of water toward the surface. In deep ocean, that energy forms a low hump, barely noticeable, racing at up to 1,000 kilometers an hour. Near shore, in shallow water, it slows and piles into towering waves that in parts of Aceh reached 30 meters high. There was no tsunami warning system in the Indian Ocean. Detection networks existed across the Pacific, where the Ring of Fire makes tsunamis frequent. But this ocean's last major tsunami struck over a century earlier during the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa. There was no way to warn the millions living along these coastlines. In the minutes before the waves hit, the sea gave warning along the coasts of Aceh, Phuket, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The water pulled back, exposing seabed up to 2.5 kilometers wide. Curious onlookers, especially children, went to collect stranded fish, not realizing they stood where the water was about to arrive. Not everyone was caught by surprise. On Simeulue Island, islanders remembered an earthquake and tsunami from 1907 and fled to the hills before the waves came. Far away, the Onge people of the Andaman Islands held their own oral warning, huge shaking of ground followed by high wall of water. Nearly all of the Onge survived. 20 minutes after the earthquake, the tsunami reached Aceh. The sea had pulled back, and locals gathered stranded fish before it returned. Eyewitnesses described 3 waves, a gentle first rise, a sudden withdrawal, then 2 towering black walls surging inland as a debris-filled bore. Survivors called it a black giant, a mountain, a wall of water. In Banda Aceh, the tsunami climbed as high as 12 meters and pushed floodwater 3 to 4 kilometers inland, flattening nearly everything within 2 to 3 kilometers of the shore. Footage showed the Aceh River backflowing, carrying debris and people from destroyed coastal villages up to 40 kilometers inland. South of the city, Lokaga was hit even harder. Locals described 10 to 12 waves, the second and third the most destructive walls of water, 15 to 30 meters high, that made explosion-like sounds as they broke. On a hill between Lokaga and Loipong, the tsunami reached its single greatest height in the disaster, 51 meters. 2 hours later, the tsunami reached Sri Lanka, 1,700 kilometers away, killing about 35,000 people, the second highest toll after Indonesia. Its worst single moment came when a passenger train carrying more than 1,750 people was derailed and overturned by the waves, killing at least 1,000, the deadliest rail disaster in history. In Thailand, the tsunami struck the Andaman coast about 2 hours after the earthquake, during the peak Christmas tourist season. Many visitors had no idea what was happening until the water was on them. Khao Lak suffered worst, its offshore reefs and shallow seafloor amplifying the waves and killing roughly 5,000 people there alone. In India, the waves arrived roughly 2 hours after the earthquake, hitting Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala. In Chennai, the tsunami swept across the 13-kilometer Marina Beach, catching morning walkers off guard. The worst-hit district in Tamil Nadu was Nagapattinam, where a 5-meter tsunami caused 6,051 deaths, most of them in fishing communities. 5,000 kilometers west, across open ocean, the tsunami still had enough force to devastate the coast of Somalia. The waves arrived around noon local time, hitting hardest along a 650-kilometer stretch of the Puntland coast. Around 289 people died in the Horn of Africa, by far the hardest-hit area west of the Indian subcontinent. The tsunami's reach didn't stop at the Indian Ocean. It was measured as far as Antarctica, and its furthest confirmed fatality came near Cape Town, South Africa, 8,000 kilometers from the epicenter. The earthquake itself left its mark on the whole planet. It made the Earth wobble on its axis and shortened the length of a day by 2.68 microseconds. Across 14 countries, an estimated 227,898 people died, most in Indonesia, then Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand. Relief agencies reported roughly 1 in 3 of the dead were children, and in some regions up to 4 times more women than men were killed, many waiting on the beach for fishing boats. The damage extended far beyond the immediate deaths. Saltwater poisoned wells, aquifers, and farmland across the region, and in the Maldives, 16 to 17 coral atolls lost their fresh water entirely. Mangrove forests that once buffered the coastline reduced damage where they stood, while cleared areas had none of that protection. The fishing and tourism industries, the backbone of many coastal economies, were hit hardest. In Sri Lanka, an estimated 66% of the fishing fleet was destroyed. With more than 51,000 vessels lost to the tsunami overall, boatyards in Tamil Nadu boomed. Tourists cancelled trips across the region, even to areas the tsunami never reached, as its images spread worldwide. The tsunami even reshaped a decades-old conflict. In Aceh, torn by fighting between the Indonesian military and the separatist Free Aceh movement, shared devastation pushed both sides toward peace. 2 days after the disaster, the rebels declared a ceasefire and the government followed. Long-stalled talks resumed, resulting in a peace agreement the following August that cited the tsunami. The United Nations estimated the relief operation would become the costliest in human history. Governments and the public donated more than $14 billion, funding food, clean water, and rebuilding across the region. Afterward, the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System was formed in early 2005 to give this ocean the early warning it had never had. 2 decades on, the coastlines of Aceh, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and the other affected countries carry the memory of that morning. Rebuilt towns, memorials, and a warning system that didn't exist before. The earthquake that caused it all remains one of the most powerful ever measured, a reminder of how much the ocean floor can still move.